Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Many Tribes, One Kingdom. It's your friend John here with today's Titles of Jesus video. You guys know the drill. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. We're so glad you're spending just a little bit of time with us. All right, so today's Titles of Jesus is I Am. So we're starting in John chapter 8. We're going to read verses 51 through the end of the chapter. I'm going to read from the King James Version because I love the way it says it. So let's get right into it. So this is Jesus talking. Verily, verily, I say unto you, if a man keep my saying, he shall never see death. Then said the Jews unto him, Now we know that thou hast a devil. Abraham is dead, and the prophets. And thou sayest, If a man keep my saying, he shall never taste of death. Art thou greater than our father Abraham, which is dead, and the prophets are dead? Whom makest thou thyself? Jesus answered, If I honor myself, my honor is nothing. It is my Father that honoreth me, of whom ye say that he is your God. Yet ye have not known him, but I know him. And if I should say I know him not, I shall be a liar, like unto you. But I know him and keep his saying. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it, and was glad. Then said the Jews unto him, Thou art not yet 50 years old, and hast thou seen Abraham? Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. Then took they up stones to cast at him. But Jesus hid himself, and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, and so passed by. All right, so there's a lot to unpack in this one. What does he mean when he says, before Abraham was, I am? And why did the Jews respond so aggressively? It seems like he's just saying, well, I was around before Abraham, and this was something that was going to get him killed. So what we have to do is we have to go back and look at the Old Testament. So in Acts chapter 3, when God is speaking with Moses, Moses asks God a question. He says, well, if the Israelites were to ask me, who sent you? Who is the name of the God who sent you? What shall I say to them? And God says something very interesting to Moses. He says, I am that I am. And he says, say, I am has sent me. So it's very clearly understood that I am is a claim and a title to deity, to being God himself. And that's why the Jews responded so aggressively when Jesus claimed to be God. Many people misunderstand Jesus. Many people these days, they're okay with him being a good teacher, a good moral teacher, but they're not willing to make that next step and call him God. And yet, that's exactly what he does right here. I like the way C.S. Lewis puts it. If he's either a liar, a lunatic, or Lord. He doesn't give us any room for any other options. He can't be a good teacher and not be God, because right here he has claimed the I am, which is the name of God. Now, a little bit of information on the I am, because it shows how God is eternal. I am that I am, or some translations have it, I am who I am. And if you know the original context of the scriptures, then you know that this name was so sacred, in fact, that it was not to be written or uttered aloud. The name of God, the I am, was so sacred, it was represented by only the consonants with no vowels, or what we call the tetragrammaton, which is YHWH, or in some instances I've seen it written YHVH. But anyway, it's pronounced Yahweh. So if you hear the name Yahweh, you understand that that's the I am. And this name was so sacred, it was not to be spoken aloud. Instead, it was written as Yahweh. And then, when we translated it into English, we added the consonants from the word Adonai, which we did a Names of God on Adonai, which means Lord. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. But anyway, we added that together, and that's how we get the name Jehovah. So we added the consonants and the vowels from these two words. We put them together, and that's how we got the name Jehovah. Anyway, how does this all relate to Jesus? Well, very clearly, Jesus is telling the Jews that he is God right here. Many people have challenged me on this and said, well, where does Jesus say, I am God? Well, he says it right here. because the Jews respond by wanting to stone him because of blasphemy. And in fact, in other verses, we can read where Jesus is convicted of blasphemy and almost stoned. There's one instance where he says, you know, many good works have I done, for which do you stone me? And they say, we stone you for no good work, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, have made yourself equal with God. This name was not a name you could go around and claim lightly. Many people's names had many people's names had an attribute of God in them. You know, for instance, the El was one of the names or titles used for God. But the I Am was his personal name. Not a title, but his personal name, so sacred that it was not to be uttered around by mere sinful men. Jesus claiming this name for himself is him making a definitive statement. I am God. And if you can either believe me or not, but you cannot say that I didn't say it. Jesus is making it very clear right here to us all exactly who he is. He's not leaving room for the interpretation that he was just a good teacher. Because he's saying, you know, some people think that maybe Paul misunderstood him or Peter misunderstood him. But it's very clearly understood right here. Jesus said exactly what he meant. So the Jews are talking with Jesus, and they have some concerns with what he's saying. Because he says, you know, if you keep my sayings, you shall never see death. And they say, well, Abraham's dead. The prophets are dead. Are you greater than Abraham? And Jesus says, well, Abraham wished he could have seen my day. He longed for it. And he was glad. And they say, well, you're not even 50 years old. There's a little debate up in the air about exactly how old Jesus was. Anywhere between 30 and 40. That's not important, though. But anyway, they say, you know, you're not even 50 years old yet, Jesus. And yet you're saying you know Abraham. And Jesus says, well, before Abraham was, I am. What he's saying is, well, God was before Abraham. So what he's saying, to defeat their argument of, well, you're not old enough to know Abraham, he's saying, well, God was before Abraham. And so you can connect the dots right here. You can clearly understand what he's saying, because he's saying, God's older than Abraham. I know Abraham. God was before Abraham. I am God. That is what Jesus is saying right here. There is no room to understand it any other way. This is a very sacred name of God and a very important name for Jesus. Because later on, this is the name that will get him into a lot of trouble. This is, you know, claiming to be deity was not something to take lightly. So either he is the truth, he is exactly who he says he is, he's a liar, or he's a lunatic. Well, based on everything we read in the Gospels and everything history has shown us, I will believe that he is exactly who he says he is. I will believe that Jesus Christ is God, the great I Am. And the reason he is the I Am is because he is eternal. He has no beginning, he has no end, and he will always be. And that's what I Am means. It's not I was. It's not I'm going to be. It's I am that I am. Because he will always be the same. Alright, I think that's everything I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this title of Jesus. I really enjoyed this one. If you can't tell, I really enjoyed this one. I hope you did too. And be sure, if you haven't already, to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you learned something new, give us a like. Give us a comment down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave them down in the comment section down below. Share this video with a friend if you learned something new. And be sure to join us on Thursday. We have another video coming up for you. We have a bunch of exciting videos planned, and we're just waiting to get them out there for you guys. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a great day, and God bless you.